Like most people who knew about it, and there are an incredibly sad few of us, I was incredibly frustrated by the passage of H.R. 347, or more commonly known as the Anti-Occupy Law. It basically added precision and force to a group of laws which already existed, which said when and where Americans are allowed to protest. I'm frustrated because A, this contradicts the First Amendment, which gives us the right to protest when, where, and how we like. But B, and almost more importantly, because it demonstrates a fundamental lack of understanding of how our government works on the part of most of the people who are supposed to be running it. Okay, admittedly, about 1% of the House of Representatives voted against this law. You all can leave. For everyone else who voted for it and who signed it, the people of the United States of America would like you to stick around so that we can have a little lesson in American government and democratic power. It doesn't matter how carefully you build the wall, or how high you build it, or how long you spend building it. Any wall between a government and its people will come down. It is the path of history, it is the path of power, and it's the path of democracy. Democracy which you claim to have been spreading to all the other countries of the world for so many years. The only kind of legislation that can prevent protests is the kind of legislation which addresses the needs of the people. Also, legislation against protests is kind of like legislation against revolution. It only applies to the people who are following it. It's funny because this actually reminds me a little bit of the Declaratory Act, which was passed by Great Britain the same day that they repealed the Stamp Act. It basically said, you know, well, we're repealing the Stamp Act, but remember, we're still in charge. You better still listen to us. They passed it because they were afraid. And it's very similar to saying, hey, you better not protest too much. It's an act of fear, and you should be afraid. You should be afraid as long as you're regulating protesters instead of spending your time addressing their needs. I'm usually a fan of being a little bit more polite and perhaps less condescending during civil discourse. But this isn't civil discourse. This is not dialogue, this is not a conversation, and it won't be as long as you keep passing laws which say that you're not listening to us. So, we, the people of the United States of America, do hereby declare null and void this law and any other law which presumes to limit our voice in our government. We do this in the face of our representatives which have forgotten their place and their power, who have forgotten that their power was made up and written on sheets of paper, and ours was not.